Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Larry Reese found he had a knack for training dogs in obedience. He and his dog Cody join us to talk about the activities of the Freeborn County Kennel Club. Later in the show, we'll get a first-hand demonstration of the art of belly dancing by several members of a regional belly dancing club. And finally, we learn more about the electricity highway that runs through the region with ITC Midwest. We have all this and more coming up on Cities on the Move. A member of the Freeborn County Kennel Club who enjoys showing his dogs in obedience. He and his good friend Cody tell us why they enjoy working together. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Larry Reese. I live in Otana, and I'm a dog lover. I have brought Cody along with me today, and I belong to the Kennel Club in Freeborn County, and I also work with Steele County 4-H'ers. There I help train their dogs. And my first dog was a Shetland sheepdog named Penny. And we got her, or some people call them miniature collie. We got her, my wife and I, in about 1984. And we wanted to raise puppies with her, so we had 2 litters out of her. We ended up with 3 Shelties, Penny, Muffin, and Luke. Well, we decided to start showing Penny after we had been in obedience class for a while, and we took her there because we wanted to solve a few behavior problems like barking all the time or not coming when called, that type of thing. And we had some success there, and then we just kept on training and showing until we got her utility dog title, which is the 3rd level of obedience. It's novice and then open and then utility. So I had good success with her. When you first go in novice obedience, you go into the ring with your dog on leash, and then you do some healing exercises such as forward, halt, forward, left turn or right turn, a fast and a slow. And then 2 people will come into the ring and stand about 8 feet apart, and then you'll do a figure 8 around those people. And your dog has to be right along your left side all the time in heel position. You can always work with the dog from the day that you get it by but serious obedience training, probably not till 6 months. But I mean, you can interact with the dog, socialize him, which is part of training. Teach him to walk along beside you. You could put a leash on him, but be gentle with him. Teach him to come to you when called, and then reward him. When he does come to you, reward him with treats or praise. The thing I like most about showing dogs is while we are showing, and if the dog is doing a really good job in the ring, and then afterwards, if I know that he's done his best, that's the most satisfying part to me.
Well, today we have some fun guests in the studio today. We're going to learn a little bit about the art of belly dancing. And our special guests are Cindy Van Reese, Sherry Jensen, and Betty Lippert. Thank you, ladies, for being here today.
Thank you.
You look wonderful, but I want to start out by hearing a little bit about each one of you, how you decided to take up the art of belly dancing. Cindy, do you want to start?
Well, it was advertised in a community ed magazine, and Sherry here is also an aerobic instructor, and And there was a couple of us in the class besides Sharon. We thought, God, we should just try this. You know, it just sounds fun. It sounds interesting and a little insensuous. And so that, and started taking classes, and I got hooked.
So was this something that you taught then, Sherry, or you were interested in trying to as an
I didn't
aerobics
teach
instructor?
it at first, no.
Okay.
Yeah, we went through community ed in Albert Lee. There was a gal that taught it she was from the troop that we're now in, and she started teaching, so we decided to sign up through community ed, and she had a good sized class, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great. And were you in the same class as well, Betty, or did you learn this another way?
No, I was actually in the troop before Cindy and Sherry joined.
Okay.
I think it was back in about 1995. My daughter-in-law and my granddaughter signed up for a class in Austin through community ed, and I said, gee, why didn't you tell me? I would have gone with you. So the next session, then we all went, and that was kind of when I started.
And what is, belly dancing is maybe a perhaps more common term for this art form. Who can give us a general history of belly dancing, where it came from, where it's traditionally practiced?
It's traditionally from the Middle East. It's called Middle Eastern dance or Oriental dance.
Okay.
And this is what they do in the Middle East. Like, this is their dance that they do. It's not any specified dance. It's when they go to weddings and when they go out to have fun. This is the style of dance that they do. Okay. And of course there are some that perform it in nightclubs, and people also like to have a performer at their weddings, a special dancer. It makes it special, and it's good luck, and so.
Okay. So it's a little bit like a Middle Eastern polka.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
kind of.
It's like like in Minnesota, it's the polka, and over there, it's belly dancing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so what does it take to learn this? I mean, do you have to have some special skills? Do you need to be naturally gifted kind of athletically? Or what was the hardest part about learning this, and what kind of moves do you need to learn? How is it? I mean, it's so different. Give us an idea of how this works.
Well, I think as women that we can do the moves because it was originated for conception and for birthing, and so women are built to definitely do those moves. And what you do, you develop them, you practice them like they did thousands of years ago, and the next thing you know, you can do it. You can do it.
All right.
Yeah, this style of dance is passed down from generation to generation. It's like 5,000 years old that it's been going on, and mothers pass it to the daughters and so on. So they teach kids. They start out really little, so it's really natural for them. And I think for us, it was hard to loosen the hips up because we tend to be so tight in the hips. We don't like to move our hips around. So that was kind of difficult, to learn how to loosen the hips up and just let them move and flow. Also, it's kind of difficult to isolate different parts of your body. You have to really be connected with your body. Like, if you want your hips to move, you don't want your upper body to move, or vice versa. A lot of people just, think it's just shaking. It's not. It takes a lot of muscle control, and it's really good because you get, connected with your muscles, and, you feel which ones where to move and when to move. And so that was the most difficult part for me, I think, was the isolations and letting the hips loosen up.
Yeah, I agree that the isolation part is probably the hardest, the thing that probably most people have difficulty with. But it's like anything else. If you want to be a good bowler, you do a lot of bowling, and if you want to be a good dancer, you have to practice a lot too.
Do you need to have a natural sense of rhythm, Betty, or with the beat?
It helps.
Okay.
It helps. When we learn dances, we count a lot, but there are also music cues, and so a certain move will be done at a certain point in a song, so that helps you to know where you're at. And we do a lot of choreographed pieces. I know a lot of dancers that dance in restaurants and things. They're just doing it off the cuff. They improvise.
Improv. Okay.
Yeah.
They're doing it just however they feel.
Okay. But you can choreography.
You can choreograph.
Yeah, you can do
choreograph. Thank you.
Either way.
All right.
In the Middle East, they usually don't choreograph anything.
They don't.
That's a Western thing.
Western mindset.
Yeah,
What
it's
stuff
like
comes
we
next?
need to know what comes next. Where they're more free spirited and whatever the music tells them to do, they do it. So we do both over here, but we've kind of brought the choreography into it. That wasn't an original part of the dance.
Okay.
And I think any body type can do this dance. You know, people are the first thing to say, well, my belly's too big. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. Because actually the more voluptuous you are, the better the moves look.
Oh, okay.
So if people are scared of, I'm not thin enough or, whatever, my stomach's a little pudgy or whatever, that it doesn't matter. We accept any body type and,
Besides,
it's great. It's very freeing.
you develop a pooch. That's what they call a belly dance pooch, and it's your muscle, and it actually does, stick out. So I know that some of the professionals, the photographers, always want to make their stomachs flat, and they go, no, this took years to develop. You don't take that out of there. So
No photoshopping this.
no.
When the dance was first started here, the troupe that was started, Nancy danced in Omaha, Nebraska in a restaurant. She was very thin, and her boss told her she needed to gain weight because she needed to have a belly to dance.
Oh, interesting. Now, I want to come back to something that Sherry mentioned about this is passed on generation to generation. You mentioned your daughter and granddaughter.
My daughter-in-law
Daughter-in-law.
and granddaughter both started.
And
They're
do
no
they
longer in the troupe. No,
don't.
no.
Okay.
But for a few years they enjoyed it, and it was nice to have a family connection to other people in the troupe.
Yeah. So tell us about this troupe. Who's involved, and what are some of the activities that you guys do?
Well, we have right now 8 members. There are 4 of us from Albert Lee. There are 2 from Owatonna. 1 moved towards Faribault, and we have Betty here from Austin. And we do a variety of things. We do parties, we do wedding receptions,
Ethnic
ethnic
fest.
fest. Yeah,
We have done fairs in the past.
Okay.
Greek festivals, we've done that.
Now, do you have regular practice sessions? What if someone, is this a troupe they have to try out for, and they have to be of a certain proficiency, or how do you become a member of the organization?
Well, we asked that they learned, like, at least to be a level 1. There's different levels.
Okay.
So we asked that they at least be a level 1 to join the troupe. And to get started, a good way is community ed classes. There aren't really, I think there's some in Owatonna that are coming up. Or a person can get videos or DVDs from the library, instructional DVDs if they want to start on their own. And so, but we do ask that they at least have a little bit of a background before they, try out for the troupe.
Okay. And what would level 1 mean? What kinds of things should they be able to do at level 1?
Like your basic moves, a basic move would be a figure 8, a shimmy, a shoulder shimmy, different types of moves like that, a hip drop, a hip lift.
Snake arms.
Snake arms, yeah.
And how long would you think, I realize people progress at different rates, but how long does it take how many lessons do you need to take, or times do you need to watch the video, or?
I would say about 6 months would
Probably.
be
All right, so.
a fair assumption, yeah.
Okay. And so then they come and try out for the troupe. Is there a limit to the number of people that you have? Or do your performances scaled for a certain amount of performers, or?
No, not really.
Okay. So what kinds of dances, are there names to different dances? When you choreograph them, do you put a name to a dance, or is it kind of one flows into the other? Give us a sense of what the performance would look like.
It's different dances, and we usually go by the name of the music or the name of the song. And we dance with swords, we dance with veils, we dance with zills, and we just do a variety, some faster, some slower, and
We try to have a mixture of the group doing dances, but then also having solos and small group numbers.
Okay. And typically, what is the music that you perform to? What kind of music is that?
Middle Eastern music, generally, yeah. We've done a few pieces to some contemporary, like Shakira music. We've done dances to that. That's always fun to do something with that people recognize, But Middle Eastern music is kind of the best.
Here in the United States, they've developed their own style too. It's called American Tribal, and then they've taken that. That was developed in California, and now they've taken it to the East Coast, and they have an Eastern Tribal, or it's more gothic and really snaky, very, very exotic moves, you know. And the one, like, we do a tribal one to the one that Shakira did. But yeah, the music is different, and also costumes are different too. And we all costume differently. If there's a certain dance we do, then we will costume similar. Like we do a gypsy dance. Well, you're not going to do a gypsy dance in harem pants when you need to be swishing your skirt around and things. So that's about the only likeness that we do.
Okay. And talk about the costume. What's traditional, or I see you've worn a variety of different things today. Is there a standard, or is it fairly open to interpretation?
I think it's pretty open to interpretation. At least for our troop, we tend to be, I think, pretty modest compared to some. If you saw a dancer at a restaurant up in the cities, that would be pretty scantily dressed. We usually have harem pants on and skirts over the top, and tops and vests, and as you can see, sometimes you can wear things that will cover your tummy if you're concerned about your tummy showing, and most of us sew, so we make our own costumes.
I was going to ask, do you make your own, or is there a place that people can buy them if they're not so gifted?
You can buy them as long as you have money.
Oh, very expensive.
Very expensive, yes.
And are the jewels and the jingling, is that part of it, or some of you
It's
jingle more than others today?
It's to accentuate your the moves. As you move and then you jingle, it just draws attention to the area that you're moving.
And then the coins on the belt, that comes from dancers in the past, way back thousands of years. They would sew their money that they made onto their clothes so that nobody stole it.
Oh.
So they would. That's kind of where that came from. So that you always will see coins on stuff. So they used to actually sew the coins onto their clothes.
So that it was very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, you guys are going to give us the pleasure of a little performance so we can see what this dance is all about. But it sounds very interesting. And so, folks, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about belly dancing, be sure to check out your local community ed, which is where many of these ladies have learned this art of dance. And if you haven't found anything in either Albert Lee, Austin, or Owatonna, I'm sure some of the other community eds, perhaps in Rochester have
or
offered
Minneapolis
classes
have a lot of classes
as well. So thank you for joining us, ladies. We look forward to seeing you dance.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And stay tuned for a little dancing, and then we will continue with more Cities on the Move. ITC Midwest recently opened an office in Albert Lea, Minnesota. They are in the business of making sure electricity gets from the power plant to your door. Let's learn more.
When you flip on the light switch, naturally you expect the light to turn on. Electricity has become one of the most reliable power sources in developed countries. We often can't imagine what it must have been like to rely on kerosene lamps or real horsepower to find our way in the dark or get mechanical tasks done. Today the world produces so much light it can easily be seen from space. While lighting our way may be one of the most common uses of electricity, many industries rely on electric power to generate their production as well. Reliability is crucial to this production. So have you ever wondered just where that electricity that charges your cell phone, lights your light bulb, or powers that industrial-sized mixer at work comes from? And how does it get to your door? Keith Eiler from ITC Midwest gives us a big picture explanation.
The overall electric system, if you want to start at an end point, basically starts at the generating facility, whether that's wind, oil, nuclear, or coal. The electricity is generated, and in the case of wind, sent through a collector system, but in all cases goes to basically a substation for sending out across the country. From transmission, we go to a community or town, we go to a distribution substation where those voltages from the transmission level are stepped down to what we call a distribution level. That might be on the order of, say, 12.5 kV. That level voltage would be distributed within a town or a community.
Transmission lines may seem like the least glamorous aspect of the electrical grid, but without them, power can't get from point A to point B. ITC Midwest recently opened an office in Albert Lea, Minnesota to provide a new base for crews to monitor and maintain transmission lines in our area.
Basically, ITC Midwest was formed when we purchased the transmission assets from Alliant Energy 2 years ago. So we now operate out of those facilities, and we have staff and crew in those areas to respond. A typical line might be ACSR, aluminum conductor, steel reinforced, where we have a steel core with aluminum strands around that core. In and around town, for instance, in my backyard, I've got poles and wires. That obviously is distribution. They're distributing power down to the end user level. If you're driving down I-90 west of Albert Lea, you'll see some large structures with conductors. Usually you can tell by the size of the insulators, and that'll be it looks like a corrugated fixture where between the conductor itself and the firm structure, the pole. The larger the insulator, the higher the voltage, and that's a real easy way to tell when you're getting into some higher voltages. The lines themselves are patrolled. We take a certain percentage of lines each year and do visual patrols, and that can be done either on the ground by driving the line in a truck or an ATV type vehicle and looking at the lines, the poles, the cross arms, the conductors, the insulators, or it can be done aerially. They can be flown by plane or helicopter to take a different perspective look at those lines to make sure that we don't have a nest on top where we couldn't see from the bottom, or we don't have an equipment issue that couldn't be seen from the ground. So we blend ground and aerial patrols to look at the lines themselves.
ITC has been working on developing new lines that will be part of a Green Power Express.
The emphasis on green energy, renewable energy is certainly a factor in the transmission industry. ITC Midwest and ITC Holdings, our parent company, have announced a project called Green Power Express, and that's a pretty extensive project to build extremely high voltage extra high voltage transmission.
One of the most important features and the most challenging one for transmission lines is reliability.
To a transmission provider like ITC Midwest, that means three things. That means the generating facilities that are tied to us want capacity. They want us to have enough lines of ample size to be able to carry their product, electricity, to their market or their purchaser or end user. The distribution utilities that are tied to us want reliability. They want connected all the time. They want a reliable system. And of course, to the end user, like you and me, we want the lights on all the time. So we have to have capacity, we have to have reliability of service, and when we have an issue or a problem, we have to have trained people in enough numbers in the right locations to get out and fix the problem.
ensuring that extremely high voltage zipping down steel lines at the speed of light happens on a consistent basis. Well, maybe transmission is exciting after all. ITC Midwest, keeping our region's electricity on the move.
Cities on the Move is on the web. Make a comment, ask a question, or share your good idea by visiting our website at ksmq.org.
The fall calendar is looking good. Here are a few activities you may want to check out. The United Way Disc Golf Tournament will be held Monday, September 21st from 4 to 10 p.m. at Bancroft Bay Park in Albert Lea. You can sign up individually or as a team to play 18 holes. For more information, call Ann Austin at 507-373-8680. On Saturday, September 26th, starting at 7 a.m., check out the Vintage Snowmobile Race and Swap Meet. This will be held at the Freeborn County Fairgrounds, and you can watch head-to-head grass drags, look over some great vintage snowmobiles, or find that missing part you've been looking for. For more information, call 1-800-345-8414. And of course, don't forget the Big Island Rendezvous being held October 3rd and 4th at Bancroft Bay Park in Albert Lea. This is the Midwest's largest historical reenactment of early America. Check out a real teepee, taste fur trader food, and try your hand at an early craft. For more information, visit bigislandrendezvous.org. And to share your event, visit us at ksmq.org and tell us all about it. Next week, we will revisit a favorite episode of Cities on the Move. We'll visit with Al Batt, a well-known humorist and birder in the area. And later in the show, we'll talk about how new residents get settled in a community, what services are available to help people find the grocery store, library, school registration for children, and most importantly, how to build relationships with their neighbors. And finally, we'll enjoy a look at the Commonweal Theater in Lanesboro. This theater recently moved into a new facility and is growing strong. Please join us Tuesday, September 22nd at 6:30 p.m. for another edition of Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Good night.
Production of this program is made possible in part through a grant from the City of Albert Lea and the Blandon Foundation.